So we're back to create a revolve option. So we'll try to create an offset plane from this side. As you can see, you can change the direction of your planes compared to what you choose. Let's place 150. Enter. It created a new plane. You can hide everything else just to work here, okay? Let's create a new sketch. And this sketch, I want so I'll create a line. It's good to have a straight line in this case. You'll see later why. Then convém criar um plano primeiro que é para não sobrepor os outros. Faz um offset plane. Let's create a weird shape here. Doesn't need to be specific. I'll use the 2-point circle. As you can see, it created something a lot different on the way you build it. I'll trim the inside just to have this shape. Create a new sketch on the new plane, far from all the others. Create the shape you want, doesn't matter how it is. Okay. The objective is to have a closed shape with different profiles, with lines, circles, or rectangles, and then trim everything just to get one shape. Mustafa?
How do you remove the background?
Here, every time you want to hide something, you just click on these things. We're not using them now, so we don't need to see. Just use the small light bulb to remove the bodies or the sketches you don't want, even the planes if you don't want to see them. Everyone created? It's closed? Lena. The shape is closed. You can see the color. Okay. So you stop the sketch. I've noticed you had trouble changing from a perspective of going to the planes. And your problem is if you're inside the sketch, you can't enter on the others. So you need to stop the sketch. And it's not showing. Okay. Stop the sketch, and then you can double click and go to other feature. Okay. So in this case, I wasn't able to delete that. So it changed perspective. Now I have this shift mouse button, wheel button. So if we use only the wheel button, it moves the object. If you hold shift and use the wheel button, it will create a pivot where you had the mouse to rotate your part. Um, Not every time, not always you can change. I'm not sure how you change that. Sometimes there is an option here, orbit, free orbit.
Or you just hit on the object.
No, no. You don't have the center point. You have to find the best way of moving the part. I couldn't find a other way to change the perspective compared to that. But it's not centered on the design. It's centered on the part in this case. So you can use the block just to change the perspective. Now we're going to put front and come to create a revolve option. It uses a sketch. First he asks to choose the profile. I'll choose this one. And then use the axis where it's going to rotate. In this case, I want the main line. And it creates your shape while only with one sketch. Instead of having different extrusions, you have one sketch and it rotates the sketch to create a profile. This profile can be done with an angle, a small angle, or with a full revolution. This case, full revolution. Again, you can come here to your right, choose an angle. Two, if you have a surface where you want it to stop, or a full revolution. And it creates this. This is used to create like some sort of tire or profile the around your feature.
But in my case, it's not getting this 3D kind of.
Okay, let's go back. Revolve. You selected the sketch. Now you have to come here to your right, select the axis. In this case, this axis.
Not the whole.
Yeah. And now it creates your profile. If yeah, maybe because you deactivated here the bodies, you have to remove the other ones and not this one. Okay. I think this is too simple for me. I want to add something. I'll edit my sketch and create small lines here just to see what happens. Imagine this is your car tire and you want the grooves. This is closed. Stop the sketch. It didn't change anything. And why is that? Any idea? I added a feature. So the question is I had the feature, but I have to remove here. I use control, it stays only with the sketch, and I deselect these, and I get my result. The result I was hoping to get. Okay. So Control Z. I was in the sketch, I had these triangles here. So let's imagine this was my tire from the car tire. And I wanted to make the cuts. on the tire. Okay, Ricardo? So I added them. I just started my... I came here to the sketch, edit, and placed the triangles. Okay? Just add 2 lines. So I placed line and created 1 line, other line. Okay? I stopped the sketch and it didn't change anything on my design. Ricardo? You closed the sketch and didn't change anything, right? So that's why, well, that happened because when you had something, it adds to the profile feature. So you need to hold control and deselect what you want, or at least the first one. Ugh, it's not working. Ah, okay. Hold control and deselect what you don't want, and it will hold control. Control. You don't have the sketch? Or you can do, or you can just remove everything. You'll stay only with the sketch and select this. The easiest way is to come to your right, deselect the profiles. It's gonna have more than one, and just select what you want. Again. And just click OK, and it adds the new feature. It's not visible. It's the same as Ricardo. Here, on the bodies, you deselected this one, and deselects everything. Select this one, and this one. Here, body. So it's creating, but it's not visible. Because you deselected all the bodies.
But I cannot go back
To the sketch?
yes. Yeah, even I do that and it doesn't allow me to select it with the control. It's always selecting the both sides.
Or the triangles are opened, or you're not in the sketch.
Yes. I am.
He's going.
If I select the value.
Are you holding control?
I go there. But it's
Now wait. First you have this. Close this. Now, what do you want to do?
I want to like select this one like you to change the shape.
You want to
Go to the original design so I
you already changed this. Double click on this one. Only have one profile. But if you change here.
like I want to change the shape.
Ah,
Like you want to
sketch. And now you can change the sketch. Double click the sketch. Yes. Yeah. Maybe you created on the wrong sketch. So this was, you created a new sketch. That's the problem. Let's delete the new sketch. It is the previous sketch where you created this shape. You come and create didn't come. You have to select this one. Deselect.
Não aparece. Este não vai aparecer. Na seleção eles não aparece. Mas espera, queres que apareça ou desapareça? Espera, põe o logo. Ok. Mas isso é a parte que falta. Já te mostro outra vez. Tens que editar agora o revolve.
Carregas duas vezes no revolve. Aqui, carregas duas vezes e tens que ir lá selecionar os triângulos. Carregas no controle e vais selecionando. Everyone has done it? Okay. Sweep. Let's sweep something. Let's put back all the bodies and the first sketch. Remember we created the spline line. Looks weird. I'll edit a little bit just to increase the angle here. You'll see why. Stop the sketch. Okay. I want to create a new sketch or a new plane. Offset plane. In this case I'll put right. I can rotate to stay right to the, and let's say from this plane, well, this plane is not good. That it needs to be parallel. It can be this one. So Ricardo, this is your problem. The rectangle was too small. Usually it puts the rectangle at a little bit bigger than the surface you choose. Okay, that's why mine was so big and yours was small. So this plane goes over all this area. I'm always changing the perspective so I can work on my design on the right place. So I'll create a sketch on the new plane, and my line is here. So I'll try to align a circle here. Let's say 15. This is a little bit more complicated to understand. As you can see, the circumference or the circle is almost aligned with the spline, but it's perpendicular to the line. Yeah.
Can you move the bodies?
Move, yes, you can. But if you move this body, the plane associated to this body will change also. So if it gets too messy, just hide it and hide the bodies to work. Okay, but you can move, yes. Just select. I'm inside the sketch, I can't move it. But if I remove the sketch, M, and I can move the. The 3-axis. I'll show you. I'll show you after this for everyone to see. Okay. So what I have now is a circle perpendicular to my spline, almost in the center. But in this case, it doesn't matter. But you can, if you don't have too many features, you can create a plane right next to this and create this center there. Okay. After this, we'll use the sweep. So what sweep does is it asks for a profile first. In this case, my circle. and then a path, and this. The body doesn't intersect. That's really bad. In this case, it's really bad. So it needs to be aligned. What do we do? What we can do is edit the sketch to be aligned. So this can go low. Ah. Oop. Ah. So this plane, it's far from what we want. I'll try to solve that the best way I can. This one is a little bit harder to do. So you need to create a plane that is perpendicular to your line as best as you can. That's why it doesn't work. I'll try to... Whoop. Okay, now it's aligned with my circle, my spline. This one, let's see if it works now. Let's edit the spline. Looks like it's too many bends. This can have different problems. Or the circle is too big, or it's not aligned. So, okay, now it's working, at least on mine. So, what sweep does is you choose a profile, in this case a circumference or a circle. You choose the profile, you choose the path, and it creates that profile on this path I created previously. The problem is, or the hard part is to align the profile perpendicular to the path. You can also do in 3D, but the spline in 3D, but it's a lot harder to work with. It's possible, but it's a little bit harder to do. So the circle has to be a new sketch perpendicular to the spline. Usually, yes. I'm not sure if it works on the middle. I've never tried. But it needs to be overlapping the the spline, or it won't have a point. So it doesn't know where to track the path. That's why usually we put on the ends of the path. The sweep can be used to create uh, different paths or with the same profile. Also useful. Maybe create a wire for some design. I'll finish mine then. That's why I created the new plane. I created the new plane so I can make the circle perpendicular to the path. sweep. Also, the distance you can define as a percentage of your path. And there's some kind of options here as a perpendicular or parallel to your uh, path. You can't put tight corners unless your profile is really small, or it will give you some errors. That was my problem.
We have to select the line and set the center line to use this way.
Yes. So here, I'll do. See what I'm going to do. First, they ask for the profile circle. Then they ask for the path. Select the path, and it creates the profile. Okay. This can be created as a new body, or to join, or to cut. You can use this to cut objects also. No?
We want new body.
Yes, yes, yes. Who's done it? Ricardo, conseguiste? Porquê?
E ele está alinhado. Porque nós não sabemos. Ele está. Usar as perspectivas. E isso é para não fez, porque não consigo fazer essa confusão. Isto tudo é que tens que utilizar este plano. Não. Tu crias essa confusão, mas tu não sabes onde é que ela foi. Usas, criar um plano, já está criando aqui o plano. Mas esse plano está diagonal. Não, está um pouco. E então, tens que criar o sketch nesse plano, já está criado nesse plano. Vou escolher outra vez. Já estou. Mas estou. Criaste nessa peça. Criaste nessa peça. Se é um plano nessa peça. E ali o plano. E agora tens que puxar isto sempre lá. Aqui. Faz. Não podes mudar a perspectiva. Ou melhor, podes mudar para perceber qual é o ponto. Agora faz isso. Faz a depois. Pronto, já está na ponta. Não, só cortar assim. Por fora. Porque estou muito acelerado. Mas é curva ou é também curva? Qual delas? Esta aqui. Ela começa a voltar a fazer mais para baixo. Puxas a curva mais para baixo. Entras no sketch que tem essa curva e puxas a curva mais para baixo. Consegue? Conseguiste? Não. Circle intersect dependency found. Pode ser tanta coisa. Joana, essa não sei como é ser feita perpendicular. Tens que criar um plano perpendicular à reta. O Vitor já foi ajudando, já foi conseguir. isso está alinhado com a risca. Joana. Não está, tu tens que arranjar um que tenha, esteja perpendicular. Não, não está perpendicular. Tem que estar a face do perfil tem que estar na direção da risca. Sim, 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 sim. E o que é que ele diz? Try reducing the temperature. Ou seja, reduz aqui as linhas. Ou então reduz o tamanho do perfil. Estás a perceber? Muitas das vezes tem que. Agora aparecer coisas que não dos outros. Vai, este aqui foi. Eu penso que o teu circunferência estava no sim, se o plano de offset também estiver a zero. E da forma como tu fizeste, não é preciso pegar plano, tens de utilizar o plano da peça para fazer a circunferência. Queres me entender? Em vez de tu pegares, fizeres offset plane e clicares lá na face que estás a criar, podes usar aquela face e montar a face da caixa. Joana, como é que isso está? Pedro, puxa a produção. Ok. Dá-me um segundo. So after this, just create a sketch over this part, and create a circle here. And you can extrude like 20 or 30 millimeters. I'll be right back. Up. Here. da linha passar o comando, podes fazer o seu para o meio da linha, não faz? Está bem, está bem.
Ok. E então?
Puxaste a linha.
Mustafa, have you managed to create the sweep? We can see that later. Okay, if you want. Sweep, yeah. This needs practicing to understand really how it works. But I'm just showing you what are the capabilities and what you can find, and then you have to choose which technique is better to build your part. So now I want you to create a sketch. You don't need to create a plane. You can use the plane from the part. You click it, just create a small circle, 20. Click E to extrude, and let's make 50. I'll hide the other parts. This is easy, right? Now we're going to create a thread. So when you're trying to build a model of something, it can be used screws or nuts, and you want to actually represent that. You can use the thread option here to create a thread on your shaft. This is really simple. Every time you select, it tries to find the closest size existing in the market and places the step of the thread, but you can change here and it will change on the design the space between each step. Thread. Cria cilindro. And then you can use also left hand, right hand, the class. There's so many options here. Modeled. Looks nicer. Okay. Okay, back to the other bodies. I want my big one, and I'll hide this one. Everyone managed to put thread? It's easy to... Yeah. Joanna is a little bit later on the designing. Joana, estás no sweep ainda? Podemos fazer isso depois, então. A Joana e os planos. Não são. Facilita pôr o círculo mais pequeno. E tem aí a opção de paralelo.
panela muito grande em são dos cortes.
Não interessa, fazia corte.
Já está?
Ah. Ok. Joana, viste o thread? Viste o thread? Como é que se fazia thread? Ok. Cria um cilindro neste plano. Sabes? Cria um pequeno cilindro. 20. Vou ser conferência. Vou ser conferência. Não precisas de criar planos. Podes usar o plano da... É só um cilindro. Depois fazes o extrude. Depois vês aqui a opção thread. Carregas no cilindro. Vai-te aparecer isto. Até dá para aumentar e diminuir. Se quiseres alterar.
How you edit previous like to this group? Now I want to change
The step here. Designation.
but in my case this menu is not that there.
In this case, there is also here ISO profile, isometric profile. There's different kinds. Yeah. Every time you want to make a change, you have to edit. Double click the feature you added. Okay. So we have the thread. Now we want to hide this object and go back to the first one. It created the thread. It's the a rosca. Criou uma rosca. Parafuso. Okay. There's also options to create boxes really fast. Cylinders, spheres, a torus, coil. I find this useful to create weird shapes. So you choose the plane you want to work. I want this one. Put the perspective right, bottom in this case. Create a circle. And he already created something, a coil. And this part you can either use the arrows, use the angle also, use here to choose the diameter. I choose the plane to start the circle and then create the coil. Sim. Não precisas de criar o círculo. A função cria o círculo. So, I'll do it again. You don't have to create any circle. Just come create, coil, choose the plane you want to work. In this case, I want this one. Create a circle. It creates the coil, and then you change the parameters you want. Here, diameter of the coil. I think it's the outside. Let's say the diameter of the entire coil, 110. Number of revolutions, height. You can use the arrow. Angle. A section is circular, square, or triangular. On the center, of course, in this case. Section size is the circumference of the coil. Let's put 10 and put more revolutions. Oops. Sometimes it doesn't show because it doesn't have space. If you put too many revolutions on a specific height doesn't have enough space, so it gives you an error. And let's close a little bit and see the result. Okay, so my previous part was cut with the shape of a coil. You can see the coil was embedded on my previous shape. You can also, instead of cut, you can join. Okay, operation, you can choose join, cut, intersect, or new body. I'll leave it to cut and give it OK. This one is easy, right? No? Mustafa? Come on, a coil.
Yes, it's not actually.
You can create a new piece or new body without using the previous one if you want. But in that case, you need to create or use the initial plane, the origin, or create a new plane from others and create the coil. I just want you to practice and see how to create a coil. Doesn't need to be over the other. The torus is the same. You create a circle and it creates a torus. This is also easy to use, just to create a ring. Joana, conseguiste? Mustafa?
Oh, I created it.
Ricardo? Okay. We can also create mirrors and patterns of 3D features or bodies. It works basically the same way. So I'll put all the bodies we created so far. And let's say I want to mirror this part. I come here. In this case, you have to go to the menu of the 3D, not this one. This one won't do anything and it's unselected. So mirror, objects. You can define faces, bodies, features, or components. Body, I want this body, complete body, and the mirror plane. Mirror plane can be this one, and it creates also a shadow or a preview of what you're going to get. I don't want this one. Let's say this one. Yeah, try to avoid the other one. Okay, and it creates a mirror of my part in the direction of the plane you choose. Works exactly the same, but uses bodies or faces. You can choose bodies or faces. You don't need to copy everything.
Body means full object.
Yes, the whole object here. And you can select here the bodies. When you have too many and you don't know, you go hover, it changes the shadow, and then you can select. Let's say I'll create a pattern now. Circular pattern. So again, you can decide here on your right, bodies, faces. I'll use bodies. I don't know or I can't find the exact part. You can choose here which one do you want to, and add more than one. And then axis, I'll choose Maybe it's a good idea to use this one, or no? Yeah. It's giving an angle to it because this axis is also going in a different direction than vertical. So it created a pattern. Yes?
Is there a way to separate the elements in the same file
There is.
or combine?
There is. It's
There
not
are-
easy to do, but it's possible. I can show you. Uh, I'll show you right in a minute. So rectangle pattern, exactly the same. You choose the body or faces, you choose the direction, the same as a sketch, but you use 3D objects. So we're finished with this menu. Any questions so far? No? Perfect. Mustafa, is your laptop getting slower to work with, or not really?
Still exciting. I should have been installed in my other PC. I can see.
Yeah. The difference is when you move your object, it gets more fluid, and the appearance is a little bit better.
Actually, now I think
Joanna? Tá? Hmm? Okay. You can choose either of your designs or bodies now. There is a fillet option where all the edges are rounded. So you choose an edge or more than one. Just pull inside and it will round all the edges you selected. If you want to add more, just hold Control and click. It will add more edges. Modify fillet or the F key for a shortcut. Sometimes is not possible to do because it overlaps other features uh, and it doesn't work. And also, you can use the arrow again. You can't go too far. And if you want to remove, also hold Control and click again. It will remove. Press Enter, and it will stay with the fillet option. Another one similar is the chamfer, but instead of staying round, it cuts the profile at 45 degrees. It's a straight cut on the edge. So chamfer option, fillet to round, chamfer to cut, to bevel edges. In this case, these two operations, you always select an edge and not a face or a body. It's an edge, okay? It's a little bit different. So this is used almost for finishing your part, giving a better look, a better finish. Shell option. Do I have a square done? No. I'll just create a, okay, I can create a cube, cube, or box on this plane. Maybe no. Offset plane from this one, because I don't want to overlap. I can create a box, this plane. 60 by 60. If you want to navigate your menu, see, jump from one to the other, just hit tab and it will jump between them. And now 60, and I created a cube with only one operation. Okay, I created this cube to create a shell of body. I don't know if you can see on the projector, but it creates a small cube inside, so it creates a shell. It gets hollow inside, and I believe if you choose only one face, let's see, one face, there it is. It opens the surface and it creates a shell, and this is the value you put is the thickness you want from the shell. This can be done also with different shapes, not only rectangles or circles, but different shapes has the mask. You can also scale 3D parts, so you choose the, in this case, entities. It already created a point of reference, and then just scale up or down your part. You can also use here for the scale factor. Let's say 0.9. We're almost there. You can also combine bodies to create only one. So Sarah wanted to split. We can also add shapes. You just have to, when you open the combine, you select the bodies you want to add, tool bodies, and join as a new component. Okay, and here you get, it should be creating only one. I don't know why it didn't, but it's combined these two bodies. Can I edit again? I don't use this option too much, but you can come and modify, combine, choose one, other, new component. Okay.
One body became, two bodies became one.
Yes. But it's not doing properly. Ah, okay. It created here component with two bodies. Okay. It created a new tab here, components with two bodies. If I select this, it will select both components or bodies. These options are a little bit harder to work with. I only used once. So if you want to split a body or a face, you need to create a plane where you want to split. Let's say this block is, you can use measure I or inspect and choose to. It works the same as dimension, but it gives the distance in this case. It opens this menu and shows how much What's the distance, volume, or area of your selection, or even the angle. In this case, 54. If I wanted to cut in half, I would give 26. I would construct an offset plane from this one, 26 minus 26, and then I would split the body. Body to split is this one, and splitting tool with the face I have, and it's split. Why I know that? Because if I want to move the body, it will only pull one. Okay?
What is shortcut for move is M?
Yes, shortcut for move is M. M, you select a pivot point and pull down the part. Sorry, I'm not saying all the shortcuts right away. We can then make a summary of all the shortcuts, or at least from those we use.
For example, I have in one body two components, two shapes. They are almost together. I
Yes.
want to move the part. Do I need to split it? Or just can I move one
You
part?
split what you want.
I just want to move. Do I need to split it?
Let's say
If the-
this one,
those components are
I only have one part here. I want to move only this one. Just select, press M, and it will move only what you want. And somehow I have two rings. Well, the silhouette split is the same. For face, I believe is the same. Move here, the M. Appearance. Appearance is just to change the appearance of the object. Say, I'll change one and you can do to the others. This box has a predefined texture, but we can change. Let's say this box is made out of glass, textured. Some of them can be downloaded to improve or to have different visuals. Let's say mine is a glass window. I just drag to the surface I want or to the body, and it stays like glass. Doesn't look too well here because we are not rendering the object. Because if I place everything as a glass, I'll close it. Let's see if on the render looks better. When you start rendering, it will look much different with all the reflexes and everything. The question is, when you're rendering, if you move, it will restart everything. Okay? If you wait enough, you'll have a really good model. And you can also use the cloud to render your images. You can. I'll go back to the model. So you can open appearance with the A. To modify, you can just right click and assign and delete. It removes the appearance. If you want to replace, you can also drag. It will add two, but will leave the last one. Why it adds two? Because you can define the properties of the material with one and the appearance with other. So I can say the appearance is glass but has the thickness or the sturdiness of aluminum. It's kind of stupid, but you can control and do like that. And that's because it's only an appearance. and you can have metal painted. So you need properties and appearance, and not every time has the same meaning. Change parameters. In this case, we don't have any, but we have a lot of them. This is really important because you can define parameters previously before you start your design. Who remembers the measurements? There was a small ID there on each dimension we associated. All those dimensions are here. For sketch 1, sketch extrude, planes, all the dimensions are stored in the parameters. And I can change them here and also the name of them. So I knew D2 was 50 millimeters. And if I come here and change this dimension, my design will change. You can also use your parameters. You just need to add here a name, an expression, and a value or a comment. And then when you're starting to design, you can just call, let's say, box. My variable is box, has a value of 100. Every time on the dimensions you write box, it will put 100. It's the same as having D2, D3, D4, D5, exactly the same. Okay?
From how you open this parameter?
Modify, change parameters. This is where you define the variables if you want, or change. Okay? You can also, in every variable, you can use operations like division, multiply, sum, and subtract. This is only a way of organizing your work also. Um, Here on this tab, you jump to render. Then you can change again the appearance, the scene settings. You can put backgrounds, but that depends on the. They have a, how can I say, a standard size for the scene. So if you're doing something with 2 centimeters, you'll probably won't be able to see on the background, or you'll only see the ground. Then you can add decals here, textures, and then you can start your in canvas render and settings here. Also render on the cloud. Of course, since this is an educational version, with the cloud you have a limited uh, settings. You can't make big images getting really high quality. It's really slow. But if you want to render with your PC, just choose the position you want and then click here and it will start to render. Here they give a small preview on what they think it's an excellent result or a final result. You can see the time passing and the number of iterations they make to fill all the points in your design. Just remember, if you want to change the perspective, it will restart everything. If you move anything here, it will restart. It might be a problem. And you need a really good computer to do this, or it will take forever to get to the excellent or final result. Because every time it adds more points, it gets slower and more information and higher quality. Let's stop the render for now. There's only a few things left, at least on this menu. I only talked about offset plane, but there's a lot others. Plane at an angle. I'll just show you. You choose an edge. Choose the angle you want. Let's say 45. Okay, and it didn't create because it's not visible here. So it created an angle 45 to this edge. Let's say I want to. I'll create a rectangle here. You have to be careful with the perspective again. Stop the sketch, extrude, and I can cut on an angle something. Okay. The same with a tangent plane. You need a circular surface, and then you just choose where do you want the plane and start your sketch from there. I think now that you created several planes, it's a little bit easier to understand. Joanna, it's easy to understand the planes now. Just to remind again, you don't need to create planes every time you want to sketch. You can use the profiles of your part to create more profiles. Okay.
You have to create
It creates sketches every time you click on a surface.
Qual é todas aquelas os textos feitos no plano?
O ângulo.
Fazes como é que fazes o
Cria um sketch. Ok, eu vou fazer.
não sei, vamos colocar depois disso.
Ok, então este já está. Rectangle. Neste sketch já apagou. Vamos dizer que é aqui assim. Stop the sketch. E agora? Extrude. Sim, criei um retângulo naquele plano com ângulo. Carrego. E depois é só puxar e ele já identifica como cut, mas também posso criar. E também pode. Imagina, está cortando. This is cutting. But I don't want to cut. I can come here and join. Okay? This is what I was saying a little bit a few minutes ago, where you always define if you want to cut, intersect, or just cut. And you get this result. When you're doing with an angle, the shape you do is not exactly the same what you're going to get down. So you need to understand how it's going to stay. Any questions so far? No?
Is there alphabet? Can you cut letters? Can you define letters?
You can use letters, yes. So let's create a sketch here to write a message. You have text here. These lines in the back, don't worry. They're trying to align with the other part, but you don't want that. This is the text you put. Let's say Sol project. You define the height and the position. You can pull the position, the angle, the type of letter. These fonts are the same that your computer has, so you need to find a way, or if you want to add other fonts, you need to integrate, close the program, reopen and put it. Okay, extrude the letters. In this case, going to cut the letters inside. Want only -2. Okay, and you have your letters cut. It's really simple. You don't have to design your letters. You can also put them to the front as an extrusion. Just have to, or maybe not. Okay, So letters only allowed to be cut. No. Maybe let me try something. Join. Yeah, you can bring because it was saying doesn't have anything to cut. That's why I had to put join, and you get solve project. I don't want. I don't know why you want a box. Letters, numbers. Okay. So let's try to do something. I know not all of the parts are related to the first one, but I'll go back to the first design. And I want to change this to 20. What will happen? Stop the sketch. Uh, and as you can see, at least this one gave me an error. This changed all of them for a smaller size, and this has an error because in this case it was too far inside. If I put 4, it already leaves. If I go 5, it doesn't. So since it removed some of the material, doesn't have enough size to. So what's happening is, let's say, these 2 points, this one, and this one, with 5 millimeters, they basically touch and doesn't allow that, so it gives that error. Let's say 4.9, yeah, 499, and 5 it doesn't allow. So they have some limits on some points. We were lucky, only one error and simple to fix, but it could have been a lot worse if we had more relations. Okay, so we need to be careful, carefully define everything. Uh, the sketch, try to lock everything so it won't move or change while you're doing other things, and try to understand all the planes, how they work. Um, we're almost done with the 3D part. We can insert decals and canvas. So usually they use this to project a shape. You create a plane, you put an image, you try to create lines over that image to extrude and cut or cut. That's why they have the example of the car where they place the car silhouette and try to mold the car out of an image. The decal is no. Wait, the image you put there so that you can create the silhouette. So basically, I have an image on the background. Let's say this is my image, and I use lines, splines, rectangles to mold this. And then I just hide the image and get the sketch to start extruding. It doesn't find the lines. It's not that good. For that, you can use Illustrator, save the silhouette, and export to Fusion and extrude. This is going to be a problem now. Yes, we can. I'll show you after what we can do with imported files. First, you need to learn, then you use the easiest way. Is work that already been done by others. Okay, jumping to the insert McMaster car components. This is a US store where they have all kinds of parts and I believe every single part they have here, they have a 3D model. Of course, I didn't open all of them. I've used sprockets, but let's see, a pump, hydraulic pump. Okay, they have this model. No. Everything is free here. At least the 3D models. You can also buy equipment from here, but it comes from the US. So this model, yeah. They 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 give you the models, but they are always also giving advertising for free. So if you find a good product they have and you have the model, already tested that model on your product. Okay, I'll redo my line of thinking. You want to create something and you need parts. You want to do in 3D. You can come here and find your parts that can fit in your project, and you know it's going to work because you assemble everything and it's going to work. And you know this store has that product. So this is the way they make advertising about their products. You know it works with the model, so you'll probably end up buying from a McMaster-Carr. So after opening the products and the reference, it will come here to product detail. And let's see. This one doesn't have the 3D model. So not all of them has model. Let me try forward, back. I can't pull back, so I'll close and open again. I'll try to open something I'm sure they have. Hey, any adapter?
Did you have any more examples?
Yes, in the other room, I have a box full of samples.
Which other room?
The where the house is.
Okay, great. Don't worry. I'm already in.
So this one, product detail. Here. So in the end of the file, they have different formats. I know dot step you can open on Fusion 360. Also, you can download as a DXF file, but this is 2D profile. I believe it also opens this one, but I'm not sure. I always remove or download the step file and then save to your computer. I won't do it. I don't need this part. You save in your computer and then you can come here, upload, select the files, look the files in your PC, upload, and it's going to stay here. We've done a lot so far and we haven't saved any more. So let's save and you'll see it had version description. You can add a description now because it's going to be your second version of the model. Might not be a specific change of your final product, but it creates a new version. So let's say more bodies. The image updates, again, it's sending to the cloud because we are online mode. If it's on offline, it's just keeps in your PC, and it created a second version. Now we have two versions on our part. Let's close this again. Importing projects. You can import a mesh if it's selected as an object or STL mesh. So only these two formats can be imported to Fusion 360 on the model option. SVG file. This is kind of, it's a vector file. I can't say the difference between DXF and SVG. Maybe someone knows? No? Both of them are vector files, and basically when you put them here, it opens a new sketch. And opening a new sketch, you can start doing the extrusions only. You have to check the scale. I didn't. You have to choose also the plane you want to put. You open the DXF file, laser cutter. I don't have any here. Let's see. Map open. This can take a while. Or it's too small or too big to see. And then, you know, has anyone used Illustrator before? You know, you can put several layers. When you import the DXF file, you can choose to create a single layer with everything or one sketch per layer. It might be good to have different sketches on different layers, and you'll extrude one each time. And this is a good option. I don't have any sample here. Also, there's other features like when you want to change your sketch to other plane, you can do it. You just have to redefine sketch plane. So sometimes when you change or make a cut, your plane vanishes and it says a warning, you have to redefine your sketch. This is the way to do. So you go to the sketch that doesn't have any reference, right click and redefine the sketch. And then you choose the new plane to put the sketch on. Okay? But this is, I won't say a little bit more advanced, but you first need to get experience on creating something. Then you'll get a lot of errors. It's normal. You'll find really hard to figure out the best way to build. You can create a lot of profiles. I'll just give you an example. You don't need to do this, but I'll give you an example. I can create a rectangle. Just instead of closing the sketch, just click E to extrude. It's already ready to extrude. Okay, circle, plane, it's this one. Create a circle, extrude this, and then okay, rectangle again on this plane. Blah, extrude this, and this. Oh, only pulled the rectangle. I want also the circle. Okay, and now I have a body that I build in 15 seconds with squares and circles. Really easy. Okay, but I want to create a cut. I click circle, choose the plane, done. Extrude here, but I want to cut. I want to object here. This is a summarized thing of what we have done this afternoon or this morning. Okay, now I want a thread here. It's already done, a thread. So I can choose, there is an option here, press pull, where you choose the face and just pull it. It will add to the feature down here. You don't need to redo, or it doesn't add anything, just pulls and adds to the previous feature. It's a lot faster to work with. And here again, let's say a rectangle with a circle, but I'll need to trim this, this, and this. Gets a weird shape, extrude, cut again. It will intersect the others, but there's not a problem with this. Just one thing. Okay, I've made this cut down here. Doesn't have anything. If I add a rectangle here, stop sketch. If I make an extrusion of this, will it cut or not? Yes? Okay. No. Why? I already cut, but doesn't have any hole there. Any idea? Black magic. This feature was added after the cut and not before. Okay? Let's try something. This sketch and this profile, I'll move them back here. Now I have the hole. So the order you make influences your design also. So if I, let's say I don't have any reference to cut to remember this circle going here. If you don't have any reference to do that and you have to put a specific distance, you can then cover or close the hole with a new feature after. But if you want to keep the feature, you have to do it before. And as you can see, you can move the sketches. Of course, you can't move too far back or it won't have any reference there. So if I want this sketch, I can't pull here because that rectangle still didn't was created. So doesn't let me go all the way back, or it does somehow. Control Z. Okay, but it doesn't let me go over. It takes some time. Come on. Only goes here because it's when this was created, this rectangle. There's no point on creating something on something that doesn't exist yet. That's why it limits the movement. And I already created this. Okay, I want a plane, let's say with an angle on this here. Okay, but it's too close. I don't want right next to the edge. I can put an offset plane from this one. This is kind of stupid, but this is how it works. And then create a circle here. It's there. Stop the sketch or just click extrude. Go back and cut. And I have an angle, but my angle is wrong, so I'll change to 75 and probably it still touches. It still touches, but it changed because since this angle is an offset of this one, it also changes the position of the other plane, so it's related to the other. Let's go back to 45. I don't want this construction plane to show up. I can make a sketch in the same plane again. Let's make another circle and use the loft operation from this one to, let's say, this one. It's not possible, I believe. Yeah. Loft would flow in an invalid direction. Let's see this one. This one is able to do. And it creates all kinds of cuts and profiles to be able to generate everything. And it, in this case, it covers a little bit of the hole we've made because it's made after. You want me to add anything else to this? Sorry? A revolve? Okay, let's make a revolve of this with this angle to create something strange. So the axes are a little bit far, but it's possible. The revolve is more about. Okay, I'll save this one, and let's go back to the. It's easy to create. How can I say? A torus or a ring, but it's hard to create a different shape than a ring. So I'll create a new design. Create a sketch here. Instead of starting in the middle, I'll start a little bit far. Okay. This. There's a fillet operation also for the 2D design. Okay, so I can round things. It's hard to show everything. Let me add more features here. So again, remember the situation of the tire. Okay. Just creating a profile, but in this case I want to use the revolve here. I don't want those, but the axis, I can use these and create a wheel. So instead of using the axis of the same design or the sketch, you can use others to create a profile a different profile. There's also ways of creating transversal profiles. It's a little bit harder because you need to embed your sketch, but you come here, tangent plane to this surface. Well, no, not this surface. I need a straight surface here, maybe this small one. No. Sometimes it's hard to find the right surface because I've made, I think it's this one. Yes, this is a tangent surface. And now, oops, I need to, if I need to look at, so this plane is not right to any of the planes I have. I'm not facing forward to that. I can use this option, look at, and choose this, and it starts with the design. When you start your sketch, it will do that. You click on the plane, and let's say I want transversal lines, line from here to here. It's already closed. The dimension from this point to this point has to be 6, and this to this one has to be 6 also. and the angle from this one to this one, let's say 70. Already changed here because this is 6, this is 6, it has to guarantee this angle is also 70. Okay. Now, it's not, well, this should be a little bit further down. So this is already locked there. So I'll try to build, sorry about that. Okay, again, dimension D6, dimension D6, it's already there. Here, oop. Escape key if things don't work. 70. That's it. Now it's easier. Extrusion for this. And I want to cut. Okay. Now I have a transversal cut, but I want an entire tire. So I come to pattern, circular pattern. This feature, bodies, faces, features. This, see, instead of using the faces or bodies, I can use the feature. This feature on the axis, the same as the tire, and how many cuts I want. Let's say 20. And here's my, whoa, wasn't mine. And I have my tire built with my grooves. So what we can learn from here is that you don't have to build everything from the first sketch. It helps, but then you have to really understand the spatial design, or what you need to manipulate, or the planes you need to create to do something similar to this. And I've made this with a flat surface, but maybe it's possible to create with an angle on this cut instead of a flat cut, maybe with an angle. I would have to think a little bit on how to do it, but it's possible. I've seen it, and a tire doesn't have these big grooves, it's small ones. You can embed everything with different depths and then choose the features and revolve everything. And in 2 sketches and 2 operations and 1 plane, extra plane, I've made a tire with a lot of features, with a lot of cuts, different designs. You want me to build something before we go lunch? Or any idea, question? Come on, no ideas? I gave you everything. Tire sample, and now it created a new design. So anyone wants to try to share their project with me? So in your project, this is my email. That's why your email has a moderator here, and you put my email here, an invite. I get the email on my email box, and also your project shows here. Sim. Não dá para fazer zoom? Não dá para copiar, eu posso escrever. Não, acho que é pior. Yeah. Ok. Só para confirmar. Já vou confirmar se recebi alguma coisa. Já atualizou. Ou pelo menos está atualizando. My first project. E onde é que estão os outros?
Esse é o seu
Não, não.
Podemos mudar o nome do projeto.
Workshop. Sim, sim, dá. Mas porquê que não me apareceu os outros? Ah, ok. Mudar o nome. Eu agora tenho acesso. Now I have access to her files. I can change them. I can edit. So yeah, I have too many projects. Who did it? Okay. So this is whose workshop 717? Mine. So changing name. Right click, rename to Mustafa. Yeah. This is the name of your file. You want to change the project name. Right click. I think you have option when it's yours. Rename. When it's yours, you can rename the project. It's easier for me to identify it later. Let's see if it changes here to not yet. Sarah, Ryan, Victor, Sol. Sol already had the project. Yeah. Teresa. Yes. Tu já tinhas trabalhado comigo por causa do modelo de Santa Cruz. Sim, 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 sim. Está aqui. Tu partilhaste o ficheiro e vou ter acesso. Por isso é que é importante escolher os projetos em qual nós trabalhamos, que é para saber o que é que... Sim. O que já tinhas partilhado. Se tivesses criado um novo projeto, eu não ia ter acesso. Mas podes tirar o acesso. We can remove access also. You come to people, not me, but let's see if I have any. I think I have here people. And just remove. You don't have access. Oh, Victor. I think that's it for the 3D design. Let me just check 3D scale split. Yep, that's it. Maybe we should go lunch now. I think everyone is hungry, and we'll come back at 2 and test, or maybe create a part really fast or a little bit faster and try to machine that part. Okay, I'll tell you the limitations of each machine, at least those we have, and we'll create a part from there. Okay.